Hey to both of you and everyone watching. I'm Scott, marketing man here at Agency Zoom. I'm joined by VP of Sales and Marketing, Kat.
Hello, hello.
And also with us today is Bradley Flowers of Portal Insurance.
Hey, Scott. Hey, Kat. How are you guys doing?
Great,
Great.
thanks.
So happy
Now,
to be here.
for those of you joining us for the first time, Bradley has provided us an email that goes out whenever a prospect is quoted. We're going to walk through his email and point out both the things Bradley's done really, really well and some areas where we think the email could be even better. So, Bradley, do you want to tell us a little more about the purpose and goals of that email?
Yeah. So, I don't consider myself an email marketing expert. In fact, I think I'm pretty bad at it. I'm not great at writing emails, so don't judge my copy, so to speak. It's more of the just the intent behind what we're trying to relay to our clients and our prospects, that we're different. So, when I started Portal, I had to think of a mission statement and or a purpose for our agency, and I think getting people bought into why we do what we do, and that sort of thing, beyond just selling an insurance policy, right? And so,
Absolutely.
and I think it goes back to the 10x rule type stuff. If we shoot for 300,000 in revenue, we're going to come short. We're going to hit 200. So therefore, we need to make our goal bigger than what it actually is. Same thing with the reason why people are working for me, and the reason why people are selling insurance is give them a higher power, a higher calling, right? So we came up with the purpose of to empower and impact people. That's what our goal is.
And I
And
definitely see a lot of that language in there.
yeah, and that's what we want to we want to that's not a marketing statement. It's really not, and it was actually kind of hard for me to formulate that. I actually had some help from some other people, because everything in my brain works with marketing. Let's take a step away from marketing, but I still think it's a good thing to let the clients know, like, hey, this is why we do what we do. And
Absolutely.
it originally, the statement was, we want to empower people through insurance, or with our business, and actually changed it to impact, because that's one thing I'm super passionate about. And a lot of you guys know I have a podcast in the insurance industry, and that's our goal. Is we don't measure the statistics, we measure what our impact is, and the way we do that is getting asked to do things like this, or people reaching out saying, oh my God, I love this episode, it was so valuable, things like that. And so we added impact to there. And so do you want me to go into the email now, or?
Well, I guess we can start if you'd like,
Yeah.
just looking at the body. It's a very visual email, Kat. Are you able to pull it up here?
And
I
this is
absolutely
sent to
can.
everybody once they're quoted. It's hey, here's a message from our owner. I'm not super involved in the day-to-day sales anymore. I would say for every 10 or every 100 cases we bring into the agency, I maybe quote 2 or 3, work on 2 or 3. Usually those are either friends, family, or bigger cases. So it's also a way to kind of introduce our prospects to myself. I feel like that was good. My last agency that I was at before I went out on my own, it was very much about branding me, because I was having to separate myself from everybody else. So a lot of folks have seen my ad, seen my face, met me, thinking, so, oh, that's the guy, right? So that's part of it as well.
All right. So, Bradley, you shared a little bit about the intent behind it being the fact that you've been the face of your own book of business, and now you are the face of the agency. But obviously, that role, as you get bigger and bigger, starts to change. So, you still want to connect with intent and purpose and share that impact. Okay. So, this is the email that you presented to us that you wanted to share through Content Labs, because you've learned so much about how that impact changes somebody's even perception at the quoted stage. It's not necessarily at the beginning when they're first looking, but when they've really started to connect with your team. So I'm going to click on edit template here just so we can kind of see it in a bigger environment. But
Yeah.
you have your logo and your guys' skyline up here.
Yeah.
The skyline is very intentional. It's people recognize it. And it's typically sent from the quoted stage, because I feel like at the news stage or even the contacted stage, it may err on the side of spam, like, oh my God, I've just reached out to these people and already sending me. Whereas the quoted, it's more like, hey, I get to know us kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very visually appealing too, right off the bat, especially for someone who's had contact with you before, who knows, what portal insurance is,
Yeah.
and they see this right off the bat. It's a very visually appealing way to draw them in
Said a
down.
couple things there too. Our goal is not to sell you an insurance policy, and we're saying our goal is also not to save you $1,000 on your insurance, even though we're saying that's not our goal. Like that, it's to get your attention. It's to grab. Oh, $1,000, really? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's a great place to sort of move into one of the second things I wanted to talk about, because I think that the language and the ideology behind this is really, really strong. However, in terms of the words used, I think we could make it even better here. I know Kat had some statistics on the amount of words that go into an email and sort of the reaction people have on that. But the only thing I noticed about this being as visually awesome as it is that when, as you mentioned, the copy, there are a couple places where we tweaked it and cleaned it up a little bit, and I think we could make it even better.
Cool.
Yeah. So the thing that we always keep in mind, and we use it even with you guys, because a lot of, whether it's a business owner or even a personal lines person, and I know you could pick between these here if you wanted to, but what we find and what statistically across all industries is 50 to 125 words gets you a 50% bot editor response rate, which in this quoted stage is what we really want. We do want to elicit a response, and the response stems from the fact that realistically speaking, that means they've absorbed the message, that it means something to them. So we did this, and I'm going to kind of just put it up here and we can get your initial response to it. I put it as Content Labs, portal purpose. So we
Yeah.
just trimmed it up in little places here. And a lot of these were Scott's recommendations to keep it
Mhm.
all of the same objectives. Every strong statement to it is still there, but that it's also encouraging them to get into this video, which we're going to talk a little bit about too.
And
So
I
we,
Scott,
think sales copy, if you've read, Bon Halpert is a real popular figure in the sales copy arena. One of his things he talks about is sales copy can always be shorter.
yeah. I
Make
like
it
to say that
tighter.
my job is to take big ideas and simplify them down to the smallest box possible. Things like, one example I'll give here, you may think our purpose is to save you $1,000 on your insurance. Well, we do that every day. It's not our purpose. I've trimmed it down to, we could save you $1,000 on your insurance. We do it every day, but it's not our true purpose.
Mhm.
Or another example, to some, paying more money for their insurance might be the goal because that may mean they have better coverages, lower deductibles, and they can sleep better at night. I've trimmed that about halfway down to others might be looking to spend more money for better coverages to help them sleep at night. So ways where we can take a lot of words and trim them down with the same meaning, but still showing the same statements.
yeah, for sure. I think the other thing too is we want this content, like you said, to establish the purpose, to establish the intent, and then to resonate. And one of the things that Scott and I saw that no one else is doing, but you're actually doing in some other environments too, and I think it builds so much credibility, is reviews. You're actually presenting your reviews again here. So they saw them when they maybe first came across you guys, or they even came through a business partner referral, you name it. But you're reminding people at a later stage. So do you want to talk a little bit about how you treat reviews, and then even how you're helping some of your, I know you guys have some business partnerships that you're doing a little bit with too about reviews.
Yeah. So we've always onboarded our clients, and one of the ways or one of the things we do in our onboarding is we try our best to get reviews, and I know the agency Zoom has some great capabilities to do that as well. And one thing I've always done and have been very proud of is when we ask people to give us reviews, we say, will you give us a 5-star review? We don't say, will you leave me a review? I want a 5-star review. I'm a believer that I hate these, when I'm looking at reviews for a restaurant, they're like, great food, great atmosphere, service was fast, prices were good, 4 stars. It's either 5 or it's 1. It's not anything in between. And so we're very proud of, we have all 5-star reviews on our Google page, and that's a byproduct of when we onboard our clients. We always say, hey, leave us a 5-star review. And so the idea that I got a few years ago, and back up, what we do with our reviews, you see here in this email, I have 2 very positive reviews from 2 people who are sort of known in the community as a FYI. That's very intentional.
Yeah.
Nick Martin on the right is a buddy of mine that's very, very, very popular in the community. Josh Daniel on the left is another buddy of mine who's very popular in the CrossFit workout community around here. And they're both, I'm in 2 counties predominantly. Josh is very much Baldwin County. Nick is Mobile. So I've got 2 people that resonate with a large group of people in my target client base in those 2 counties. So that's very intentional. But we use our reviews in our content. Anytime we get a positive review, we'll use it in an email, as you see here, or we'll take that review and we will we'll put it on a graphic, make it real pretty, and post it on Instagram, Facebook, and the works. So that's something I think you should do. I mean, squeeze every blood out of the turnip that you can. And so, but one of the ideas we've been pretty successful. We have, I think, 50 something Google reviews, which is not a lot if you're comparing us to an agency in Chicago or some of these big cities. But in the area that I'm in, I think I have the most 5-star reviews of any insurance agent. And my wife is actually number 2. She runs a completely separate agency from me. And so we've done a pretty
Gotta
good
throw that
job
in
with
there,
it.
right?
Yeah, we've done a pretty
Gotta
good
make sure
job.
everybody knows.
We've done a pretty good job with the Google reviews, and I have a lot of people ask for it, and obviously it results in a lot of phone calls. And as you guys know, if you go from 0 to 1 review or 0 to 5 reviews on Google, you're going to see a significant increase in call volume from that, because Google is going to say, oh, they're putting attention to that now. We're going to reward the crap out of them. So one idea that we got was to essentially take our model of asking our clients to review us, and instead of reviewing us, it reviews the loan officer or the realtor or the referral source that sent that lead to us. So one thing that Agency Zoom allows us to do is we took, I think, our top 5 or 10 referral partners, and we need to do all of them. We just haven't gotten to it. And we basically said, hey, if me or one of my clients were going to leave you a 5-star review, what platform would you want us to leave that on? And they pretty much, they're all going to say something different. Some value Zillow, some value Google, some have their own proprietary platforms that you review on. So what we've done through Agency Zoom is when the lead source is John Smith Lender, it's actually going to filter that and only send a particular automation email to the sold clients that person's the referral source. And essentially what it is it says, hey, we're super excited to do business with you. And actually I can read it to you verbatim if you'd like me to. Hey, customer first name, I wanted to circle back and ask a favor. Your realtor, John Smith, is amazing at what they do and is really a great associate of ours. To show your appreciation, would you mind giving them a 5-star recommendation? You can do so via this link. So it's quick and to the point. And essentially we're trying to get reviews for our referral partners instead of ourselves. And in those situations, we actually don't send the automation that asks for a review for us. Just review this person. I'm not going to ask for too much. And it is about getting them the reviews, but it's also, like we talked about before we came on the air, very much a thought that counts kind of thing. And the way we tell them about it is very strategic. It's not, hey, have you seen that we did this for you? It's, hey, Sally, what platform do you want us to review you on? This is what we're doing. And we show it to them. And every time the reaction is, oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever. That's such a great idea, over and over and over. And they really just fall all over themselves over it because it's such a cool thing. And it's just that added step that they're not getting from an insurance agency down the street.
Yeah. I think it builds such a good relationship too.
And to be frank, I've used this on other platforms before I moved over to Agency Zoom, and Agency Zoom is by far the easiest to set that automation up on.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
We appreciate that.
And that's not lip service.
Kudos.
Yeah. It makes it super easy.
We haven't sent Bradley any swag yet, so he doesn't owe us anything yet. Eventually, when I send him a T-shirt, then I'm gonna, what'd you say, get the blood out of the turnip? Is that
blood out of the turnip?
You guys
the way I tell everybody, the weight of my heart is a T-shirt, and that's not me being vain or anything. It's because when I started Portal, I was damned and determined to break the mold of an insurance agent needs to wear a crusty suit every day. And I've literally not worn anything but T-shirts, maybe an untucked button up, literally every day since I started Portal, to prove that it can be done by you being your true, authentic, comfortable self. So I wear a lot of T-shirts, and I talked to another vendor that's not in your space the other day, and He's like, dude, every time you wear that damn t-shirt, somebody calls me for a demo. So I'm like, send them,
All
keep sending
right.
them.
All right. We'll get you a
All right.
t-shirt. We'll get you a t-shirt.
So the last area I do want to touch on before we finish up is the subject line here. I think this is another area where this is a very, very strong email, and you've done it very well. You've created a sense of intrigue here. It's that great 3 to 5 words, that golden area in terms of length and the purpose of portal insurance. Like there's something that's in the email that's leading into that piques someone's interest. I mean, the only piece of advice I had here was, and I'm sure you've done it before, was A/B testing this as a statement versus a question.
Yep.
But again, I'm sure based on how good this is that you guys have taken that step already.
It gets a pretty high open rate simply because, and this may or may not be a good thing, but it's right after we've quoted somebody. And in some cases, let's say the producer moves it to quoted before they deliver the quote or after, it gets a little bit higher of an open rate because either they're expecting a quote from us or they've just gotten a quote from us. And a lot of times, even though we're pretty we stick to our guns in terms of we like delivering our quotes over the phone, we still always email them as well. So they're used to opening emails from us. So it gets a little bit higher of an open rate because of that. That may have caused me to be a little bit lazy in some of the titles and things, but yeah, I agree 100%.
Awesome. Well, I think looking at the whole email, this is a really strong creative approach here. It's very visually appealing between the video and the reviews, and you give prospects all sorts of reasons to trust your agency, which I think is always, at the heart of it. Trust is really this whole industry. All in all, I hope we've been helpful to you today and to everyone else listening in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been fun. And just to dive in a little bit to the empower people, and it's what the video is talking about is, our goal is to empower and impact you how it means to you. If it's to save you $1,000 so you can afford dance lessons for your daughter, that's what our purpose is. If it's to give you greater peace of mind, that's what our purpose is. Is it we give you such a warm and fuzzy feel? And a lot of people confuse this part of it. And even the person interviewing me in the video was confused about it. I said, our purpose is to give you that warm and fuzzy, good feeling so that you pass that along to somebody else. I wasn't talking about passing it along and saying, hey, you should call Bradley for your insurance.
Yeah.
What I was talking about is we're going to treat you nicely in hope that you treat other people nicely, not so it benefits us, so it puts good vibes out into the world.
Absolutely.
That's the one of the three that it's like, when I tell new team members that, it hits them in the heart. Like, I have got a good buddy of mine that owned a tropical smoothie cafe, and he used to talk to his team members and his employees. He actually sold the franchise, but he would talk to them about, like, you would think that they were working for the Secret Service. And he would talk to them about this, and he would say, guys, like, this is literally life or death. And what do you mean? Well, what if somebody was going to do something horrible, like commit suicide, and the last thing that they were doing was to go get their favorite smoothie? And because you smiled at them in the drive-thru, it maybe triggered something in their brain that kept them from doing that. You know what? There is good in the world. As crazy as that sounds and ridiculous as that sounds, like, that could definitely has happened at some point. And just as much as, like, with us, like, here's one thing insurance agents need to realize is, like, we're a footnote on the page, right? We're not the goal. The goal is to get to buy the house or the business or whatever, right? We are the conduit that leads to the goal. And when people deal with us, I promise you, you're not the highlight of their day. If anything, you're the low point, right? And we need to be a little bit more, as my buddy Scott Howell says, Paula Deen and Sweet Tea, not DMV. If we can impact people just a little bit in a positive way, what kind of impact, people talk about the butterfly effect and things like that. What kind of impact does that have on our communities going forward? I mean, that's what we're all here for, is to impact our communities.
Absolutely. I think I just went through that stage where I'm finally old enough to be getting my own insurance on all sorts of fronts. And it's a complex industry, and there's a lot that you have to figure out right off the bat, especially your first time buying a policy. So I think that mentality that let's just be as kind as we can and, help someone through a time that's going to be hard for them is so important for this industry.
Yeah. And it's,
Any
look,
industry.
buying insurance from an independent agent is the most inconvenient way to buy insurance. we've got to figure out a way to make it convenient and positive.
Right.
Oh,
I think the Pauladine and sweet tea like comes back to the whole
There's an
why. Like if you
X-rated
start
version
with
of that
why,
statement too. I'll tell you when we get off the
I
air.
don't want to know. We'll talk about it at a bar sometime, right? I think the thing that's so important about it is you guys are following through on it and how you're treating your own employees, how you're treating your customers, and even how you're treating your referral partners. Like none of them expect you to get them referrals. No one expects you to send them this video that really like resonates with them on a personal level. And I mean, like selfish plug here for Agency Zoom that you guys don't have to do a lot more work to get to execute on that level, but you guys still recorded this video. You still put, you know, these reviews in here, and you still care about executing on each one of these things that get back to the heart of why you guys are doing what you're doing. So I think that's important too, is so often if you don't start with why in any time, like what all of us are going through right now, whether it's working remote, whether it's being in metropolitan areas that are certainly seeing, I'm sure, plenty of clients with a lot of claims, like things aren't great right now. But if you start with why, when you have those bad things come up, it's easier to click into the mode of what can I do to really help you as a person than it is to fall back into a woe is me, you know, my life sucks too type attitude. Like you just take that extra step
Yep.
to deliver a smoothie with a smile. So like that's really awesome that you guys are, you know, going through all of that at
Well,
every step of your relationships.
and I think too that a lot of agents don't implement things because they think it has to be perfect. No,
Mm-hmm.
nobody you're looking at, no agent that you look up to, no Mike Stromso, Chris Paradiso, Ryan Hanley, Scott Howell, none of these guys or girls, Patty Larez, none of these guys or girls have it figured out. Okay, and that's not a knock to them. The agents that you're seeing that are successful, that are implementing things, it's because they're willing to try and they're willing to take action. Nobody's perfect.
Right.
Like you just got to take action. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be right on. You're never going to be comfortable opening up your heart and showing it to the world, right?
mm.
Right.
Like it's
Yeah.
you just have to accept the fact that the gold is not in getting things perfect as it relates to things in your agency and processes. The goal is the fact that you took the first step to take the action.
Start somewhere and refine and refine and
Start
refine and
somewhere and
refine.
refine. It is a very this is a fluid business. Things are constantly changing. Things that I was doing, focusing on and working on a year ago have completely changed. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think
anyway,
it's the sincerity too, because like I think of in talking to you and like how you guys have established a purpose here, or Ryan's been on and he's spent time with Scott and I, and how he's, you know, approaching starting his own agency from scratch rather than even stepping into a pre-existing agency. Or, you know, I've gone to dinner with Chris. Like I think everybody knows like Chris's agency is extremely patriotic. You know, they support a lot of people that have autism or like disabilities and everything like that. Like start with something that truly means something to you so that it makes your job as you refine easier, because you never, like, as long as you're learning, you're never failing if you're really attached to the end goal.
yep.
So I think that's like an important part too, that you can keep growing, and as long as there was no right and wrong to it, as you refine, it feels like you're getting closer and closer to what you were hoping to accomplish to begin with.
And
That's
I want to
right.
make sure that we're respectful of Bradley's time here as we're closing out here. I wanted to ask, were there any last comments anyone had on the email? Any last things anyone wanted to add?
None here.
Otherwise, I think
None here.
we're
If you
good.
let me keep going, we'll be here all day. So
All right, then thank you again for coming on, Bradley. It's been awesome. And of course, thanks for providing this content for us to look at and share with all of our viewers. If you guys want to check out Bradley's content or any of the past content labs, you can find those on our blog. Just go ahead and check it out. You can download the templates for yourself and use them in your insurance agency. Thank you again for coming in.
all right, guys.
Thank
Thanks so much
you.
for having me.